I guess first topic, changing role of procurement amidst the pandemic, and what factors are you seeing in terms of making procurement, kind of especially in Amazon Business's target market, more strategic based on the changing priorities?
Yeah, so I often say that procurement is a function we don't think a lot about until something goes wrong. And the pandemic certainly has proven that. So when all the supply chain constraints have arrived and people were not able to get the product, that's when you realize the importance of that function. So what we're seeing now that we're out the early days of the pandemic, a focus on supplier diversity, and with that, more supply chain resilience. More recently, of course, with the macroeconomic changes, there's really a focus on value. And value in two forms. It's definitely the product cost and thinking about that, but also second, thinking about just the cost of managing procurement process and where all the efficiency. So a lot of the interest in Amazon Business is we're known to have very robust tools that allow companies and organizations to be more efficient and simplify the procurement process with greater automation and leveraging technology.
So how is Amazon Business working as a strategic partner to customers? I think we're really familiar on the site with kind of the origins of it, but what has it been doing recently, since the pandemic in terms of capabilities and partnering?
Yeah, great question. We have seen an increase in the awareness of Amazon Business, and because the work from home and our unique capabilities, a lot of relationships that were developed during the pandemic. Now today, now that we have relationship with, in the US, it's 96 of the top 100 Fortune company. And then in the UK, 66 of the FTSE companies. So now we have much larger companies and then many in the public sector as well. We have more larger enterprise, larger organization, and we're evolving those into quite strategic partnerships. So we are doing a lot more integration with procurement system and then thinking about what type of visibility they need in terms of their procurement spend and the tools that we can offer them. And we have started getting into more negotiated agreement with those large companies where they'll come to us for their needs over the next year, and then we can modify the different historically procurement system at Amazon to be thinking more forward. So if you think about a function like forecasting, which we build a lot of technology around on Amazon, it's always a trailing signal. We look at demand patterns, we data mine the past few years, and then we forecast how much volume consumer will be buying. Now, what we're getting into with larger Amazon partners is they will give us a forecast. We have some type of understanding of what's their need over the next 12 months, and then we start planning from a forward-looking standpoint. And that's really the big shift where you can do that when you have a very large partner. And there's a couple of interesting examples where our volume gets big enough that allows us to not only think about the supply chain experience like I described, but also the delivery experience. And we have enough volume where it warrants putting a dedicated route. So you have a dedicated truck that's going to go to a single location or a small number of locations for their needs.
So really it's, a couple of things if I were to just summarize there. So just in terms of changes, or evolution of Amazon Business. So one is beginning to leverage some of the broader capabilities of Amazon and kind of the AWS supply chain stuff around forecasting and visibility. And the second, I would say, is leveraging the broader assets of Amazon as a logistics company as well. So not just a marketplace and the procurement punch out, but a lot more.
Yes, and I would add to that it's beyond leveraging those capabilities. We're in many ways reinventing them. So Amazon Business is leading the effort across all of Amazon to be able to manage larger quantities. So think case pack, think pallet. That delivery experience also is really for the needs of Amazon Business. And we have some additional logic that we're building across our different systems to do more consolidation. So what we find is businesses will deeply appreciate our speed of delivery, but at times it may be more advantageous for them from an efficiency standpoint to do consolidation. And we're building the ability on the website to do more consolidation. So now that businesses can have more flexibility. A user can decide, I want this item tomorrow because I'm in a hurry and I have a specific need. And then the administrator of an account may make purchases for the next few weeks and say, I want all those purchases to be delivered on the same day. And those are new capabilities that we launched and are available.
Got it. I need to check it out. I'm a customer.
I hope so.
We're small. We're like 35 people, but we are. That's great. It's interesting. There's such a huge gap between where a company like ours, or even like our private equity company and their holdings, would go from Amazon Business to like a Coupa plus Amazon Business. It's like you got to be so much bigger to warrant anything but an Amazon. But I realize the enterprise piece is really the huge target.
We try to serve all our customers of all sizes, and that's the mission of Amazon. And I think initially we're really focused on the SMB, you probably know that.
Yeah.
But a lot of our forward-looking investments have been with large enterprise and then those kind of larger capabilities. What we have found, though, is we're building tools on the website, such as spend visibility, that are also very useful for SMB. And in some way, maybe that's what you were alluding to, is you're a small company, by using Amazon Business, find themselves essentially having access to a procurement department that normally they couldn't have access to, in the form of just greater tools on the website and then greater capabilities. And then, of course, there's additional value that we offer with larger quantity purchase, the quantity discount that you're familiar with. But in the future, we're also building a selection around case pack and pallet. That's probably what's unique. So everybody knows Amazon around value, selection, and convenience. And the three still applies for Amazon Business and how we think about serving our business customers, except that our value proposition may be around different pricing for larger quantity. The notion of selection evolved not only to think about specialized selection for businesses, such as maintenance, repair, and operation, but also we're going to think about selection in terms of format, and that businesses may need access to different size and then case pack or quantity than the consumer. And then the last, convenience, is of course the speed of delivery, but the things that you talked about, integration with e-procurement platform, maybe purchases through APIs, and having the tools and then the visibility on the website to allow compliance with internal policies or reporting and visibility that we discussed. I feel you probably know a lot of that stuff.
A bit. Actually, there's a guy on your team who I think is back in Amazon procurement, but David Wild, who is just, you could sub him out with one of our analysts. He's an absolute guru. He's got an ego as to what you guys have built in a good way.
We're certainly thinking about how to keep enhancing partnerships. Coupa, SAP Ariba, Jagger, those are very, very important partner and a relationship that we nurture.
Yep.
And we have a few innovation in terms of not only doing punch out, but also punch in that you may have heard that we launched in the US with a few partners, and then that we're hoping to expand with Coupa, SAP Ariba also in the future. And we think in terms of shopping experience for the user, it's really convenient, and then you can bring the enhanced tools that Coupa and SAP Ariba offer to those customers as well. So it's kind of having the best of both worlds.
Cool. And one area I know we wanted to touch on is kind of a growth update. And I don't know how deeply you can get into the numbers, but...
Numbers. It's pretty rare for Amazon.
Yep.
So you probably read about the ND shareholder letter where we're on a $35 billion growth rate for this year. We will share with you our compounded growth rate in Europe over the past 3 years, which is 25%.
That's annual?
Yep. So CAGR.
That's great. Exciting.
And then we had a few more. Like in the UK, I shared the number of large companies in the UK. It's 66 out of 100. All of the 15 largest universities in the UK also working with Amazon Business. And then 14 of the 15 largest cities in the UK, defined by population, also procuring material with Amazon Business.
And we serve more than 6 million customers worldwide.
When you say 6 million customers, 6 million entities?
It's businesses, yeah.
6 million
businesses and organizations across the world.
Yep, that's great. So I'm ostensibly an analyst, but I've been at this for a long time, and I was in corporate development before and have worked on
For which company?
at Free Markets. And then I lead our private equity practice today, and I do some co-investing with some firms also. And if I think about, for example, like Omnia, the GPO, you had so much value on top of that. And when you talk about volume, it's true marketplace volume, like you're touching it. You're not just negotiating pricing. I mean,
It's,
35 billion is just touching the surface.
We think we have a lot of opportunities ahead of us, and we're really excited by the customer response. And the fact that now the breadth of those customers is always increasing. I think if historically there was the small, medium businesses that had a presence on the consumer website that was just moving over, now we're building a lot more new relationship. That's very exciting.
Yeah. Anything else you want to highlight? I mean, we could go in so many directions. I know you've got to run in a minute or two. But anything else you think would be useful to highlight in the story?
The ongoing investment in the EU will be an area of focus for all of Amazon, for Amazon Business. The fact that we're highlighted in the share letter.